How to vet your rifle in 2026 and for all of eternity. I can't believe almost everyone is doing this wrong. Thank you.
I got him!
Ooh, look at that butt. Look at that booty.
I can feel it.
Meow. Woo! Love you. What's up, guys? Operation Poirier. Welcome back to the mountain. Cheers. So today we're going to be talking about how to vet your rifle. I'm going to go into what I've been seeing people do wrong, which is what you really need to take away from this, and then how they can fix it. This is something that I'm really passionate about, and to be honest, it's kind of pissed me off seeing people do these kinds of tests and essentially getting failed data points that are not really concise. A bunch of tests that don't really matter. It's like comparing apples to tomatoes. It doesn't make sense. Why people use these as data points, and then how to vet your rifle in 2026 and for all of eternity. I can't believe almost everyone is doing this wrong. So these are some things that I've seen out in the gun space, the gun community, that is just not right whatsoever, and that I think really needs to stop. I've seen people recommend that to know if your rifle is properly ready to go to war, it's properly vetted. I've heard people say you have to shoot at least 2,000 to 3,000 rounds, if not 5,000 rounds out of that rifle to know if you can trust it with your life. Whether it's for home defense, go to war, it doesn't matter. Whether it's a $500 rifle or a $3,000 rifle, you really need 3,000 rounds, 5,000 rounds to prove that it's not going to fail in combat. I don't agree with that at all. People rely solely on round count and indoor ranges and not other factors. This is very important. Some things that I've seen are like torture tests that are completely unrealistic to what you would actually be using the weapon for, such as meltdowns with FRTs or super safeties or full auto lower. Essentially, if you don't know what a meltdown is, you get thousands of rounds. You get a FRT, super safety, a full auto lower. You put whatever upper that you want to test on that lower, and you just hold the trigger down. You're not aiming at anything, you're not shooting, you're not moving, you're not communicating, you're not bounding. You're just holding the trigger down, sometimes even in like a shooting barrel, and you're just saying how long it takes for a catastrophic failure to occur or for it to stop cycling correctly. This is not a good test because it is not mimicking real world combat and what you would be using this weapon for if you were to go to war, if you were to use it in a home defense scenario. Mag dumping, whether it lasts 1,200 straight rounds or mag dumping 5,000 rounds of essentially full auto fire, is not how you would actually use a rifle. It's creating unnecessary wear and heat and friction in areas to where with normal rates of fire and a normal combat load and scenario, it would never become that hot, is what I'm trying to say. It would never be under that kind of stress, even in an actual firefight. Unless you have converted your AR-15 into a M249 SAW or a 240 Bravo, some kind of machine gun, belt fed, and you can swap the barrel. In combat, you are never going to be anywhere close to those round counts. We need to keep this in mind. We need to be realistic about this, guys, because this isn't something to play around with. We're not talking about just to know if your rifle's good. We're talking about if you can trust your life with it and use it in combat. So people will test out with these meltdowns and say, oh, my favorite brand did this good on the meltdown, but that really doesn't, that data, I'm going to call it data, that data is really not that important when it comes to the whole picture of how that weapon needs to function to save your life. Another data point that I constantly see are torture tests, and I watch them myself because they are very, very, very fun to watch. However, when you're in combat, when you're in a wartime setting, this bad boy is staying strapped to me. I'm sleeping with this thing. It's staying cuddled up with me 24/7, unless I'm doing work, and then I'm going to have a sidearm, and this is going to be in a secure location, okay? I'm not going to throw this in a river because I'm not going to be in a river. It's not going to be frozen in ice. And if I was in a river, it's going to be strapped to me. It's going to get a little bit wet, and then we're going to get out. This is not going to be completely frozen in ice. I'm not going to completely bury this thing in mud. I mean, I guess you can. You could drop it in the swamp or something. But to leave it for 3 days, that's completely unrealistic. And that's kind of what I'm saying here. They do unrealistic tests to see how well, one, these brands work, but also they're fighting rifles. And it doesn't make any sense to me because you cannot, that's not how it's actually going to be. Why are you testing using a test that has nothing akin to what it's going to see during actual combat? That's my problem, and that's what I need you guys to realize. So pretty much these data points are super unreliable, and I do not trust them. So Operation Poor, you talking all that smack, how do you actually vet your rifle? Well, number one, you have to shoot it. But you can't go to just any indoor range and just shoot it and say, wow, this works good. Now this is specifically, we're talking about war here. Guerrilla warfare is what we're talking about here. Foreign invasion, don't break any laws. I don't condone illegal activity. But if there's tanks in the street, this is the scenario from now on we're talking about. To know if your rifle works good, I would argue you shouldn't even have to shoot over 1,000 rounds in it. Maybe even 700 or 800 rounds to know if it functions well. Because at that point and after that, you're just adding more wear and tear on the rifle, and you're getting closer to something breaking. After 700 to 1,000 rounds, you should know how that rifle acts. You should have shot it standing, you should have shot it in the prone, you should have shot it kneeling, you should have shot it running and gunning up against barrels or tires or whatever your shooting setup is. You should have already done all of that. So you shoot it in dynamic positions, and the most important thing is you take it out in the field. Now before you say, oh, no you don't, here's some videos. Where have I took this one personally? I wrote this down. Where have I took this one personally? I've stayed overnight in cliffs and caves, like back in the recesses of cliffs and caves, while there was an active tornado going on, about 10 miles away. Big storms and whatnot that night. I've ran tons of CQB. I've ran tons of CQB drills with this particular weapon. Probably hundreds of rounds, hundreds of drills with it. And dynamic shooting positions, not just standing. I've shot laying on my side sideways. I've shot it out of cars to practice that. This is what you need to do to vet your rifle. When I go out in the field, another data point to know if your weapon is reliable, take it out in the field and sleep with it a night or two. Take it out in the cold. It's about to become a big snowstorm tonight, or about 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's supposed to snow a foot. I've took this rifle out in the snow. I've took it out in the summer heat all night with the mosquitoes and the humidity and everything going on. I know this, now this is technically a pistol by the way, but I know this thing works. I know this build works because I've seen it in those conditions. All those conditions that I use to vet my stuff, not just rifles but gear as well, is literally me just mimicking what I would do in a combat scenario, or in particular, real guerrilla warfare scenarios. I'm actually out in the bush. I'm actually out exposing these things to the temperature, to the humidity, to the rain, the elements, everything that would actually, I would be doing in guerrilla warfare. This has already been through and proven that it works. There's no other way to properly vet a rifle or a weapon system, or even gear for that matter. You can sit here and say, well, the meltdown actually shows this and shows that the material of the specific brand and bolt and all that. Yeah, dude, that's cool. But you're showing it stuff that it's never going to see. What matters to me is I can take it out up in these hills in Appalachia. I can stay overnight a night or two. I can get it rusty and it still run. I can do this and that and it still run. It's still, accurate. The rifling in the barrel is still good. All that jazz. The fact is that I've put it through its paces. The fact is that's what you need to do, whether it's public hunting land or national forest, or your buddy owns public land, or you have to pay to go to a carbine course that's overnight or something. That's what you have to do to vet your gear and your rifle in specific. I don't think the round count has to be that high. Like I said, 700 rounds through a weapon when you've only been shooting a couple mags, or let's say a combat load, each excursion you do, that should be enough to prove to you that the weapon works. I would recommend always carrying at the very least a extra bolt carrier group for any weapon, whether it's a PSA Aero build, which is this one, or some sort of, BCM or something higher tier, Knight's Armament, whatever. It doesn't matter. Daniel Defense, have an extra bolt carrier group with you at all times and a maintenance kit. And that's pretty much, you're good to go. Maybe an extra gas tube with some gunsmithing supplies as well in your rucksack, but honestly, that's all you really need. The only way to actually test something is to do it. Do the stuff that it would actually be doing. Do the stuff that the rifle would actually be seeing in combat situations. It's sitting overnight cold. It's snowing outside. Let's say I go out tonight. It's cold. It's snowing. I do a mock drill where I receive contact at 1 a.m. I get up, turn the light on, and I dump a mag or two off. Well, this rifle was out in the cold for, let's say, 8 hours at that point. If something was going to freeze up, it would have already froze up. The only way to properly test gear, specifically rifles, in this case, is to actually get out and use the thing. You cannot mimic with these false data points actual combat scenarios. You have to go out in the field. You have to actually go out and train with it. You actually have to go out in the rain. It's not glamorous, but if you're out training, you're not training to be glamorous, you're training to save lives. That's a little bit more important than going to an indoor range and shooting thousands of rounds and calling it a day. You're not learning anything, especially when it comes to the Minuteman and guerrilla mindset. Shooting is like 5% of the whole equation. The other 95% is your knowledge base, your kit, your gear, and what you are capable of in a tactical sense. Most importantly, God bless you.
If you're anything like me, you like to train and push yourself. Whether that's rucking on a climb, weightlifting, sprints, whatever I'm doing, I always give it my all.
It's going to test my limits in more ways than one.
And yes, while shooting is glamorous and range time is fun, the simple fact is, when it comes down to it, fitness is far, far more important to protect your loved ones. Pulling that car off of your spouse, opening that stubborn pickle jar, being able to physically dominate when the time comes. Many, many things in everyday life require strength, not just the guerrilla mindset or the Minuteman mindset. And while you need to be consuming decent food, and a diet does help, this right here is the key ingredient to push you to the next level. Operation Pour is sponsored by Bucked Up Supplements. I've been using these 4 years for weightlifting, for rucks, and I can testify right here, right now, they work, and they work very well. It doesn't matter your goals, you can custom fit a supplement regimen for you. Male, female, it does not matter. Use my code CASH22 during checkout at buckedup.com to enhance your ruck and your Minuteman capability. Not to mention, I really appreciate it. It helps support the channel, and it saves you a decent amount of greenback if you are already buying the supplements. Definitely check it out. Personally, I like the OG Bucked Up and the Banff. The Banff has nootropics, and that deer antler velvet hits like no other and boosts recovery. Feel like one with nature on that bad boy. Thank you for watching, and God bless.